All right. Oh, there it is. We on? Hello, everybody out in Facebook land. Keep an eye on everybody. Got a great show tonight. Great new listeners. Let me get all my stuff. We got Squirt. For you guys on Facebook, we're going to show Squirt. He's a Christmas puppy. We're going to talk about Christmas puppies. We're going to talk about all the new friends we met this week. The new dogs. The Christmas puppies. Hopefully everybody's focused today, paying attention. It's a long day. Squirt's been at doggy daycare. He's tired. I'm tired and cranky. Ashley's texting, or I know she's working on something. What?
We're sharing the show on our other Facebook pages.
You're doing what?
Sharing the show.
What did she say?
She's sharing the show.
Oh, sharing the show. All right.
You're Jews.
Well, I'm listening into my headphones. All right. So we all got to wake up here. My ball, my brain. I brought my human brain. Take my human brain off. Have my neocortex working. Tired, cranky. Oh. What time we start? Is Mikey in there?
He's napping.
Just knock on the window. Ask what time we start. Do we start at 9:07?
Yeah, our hand is on.
Is he up?
Yeah, we go.
Good morning, sunshine. Good morning, Vietnam. What's the matter? Why do I hear that on my radio? That's weird. What is this?
We have a recording on it.
Huh?
Last week. Last week's recording is on.
I can't hear you.
Nice.
Hello? Yes? Hi, welcome to the Dish on Dog. I'm your host, Mike Gould. I might hear myself in the radio. What's that scaring me? I hear voices in my head to begin with. I don't need any more.
Especially your own.
My own voice in my own head. Anyway, I'm your host, Mike Gould. This is the Dish on Dog. We're broadcasting live on 103.9. We're also on Facebook Live. For those of you on Facebook Live, we always do in our second commercial break,
Yes.
we do a nice little video. We have our Christmas puppy Squirt we're going to talk about in a little while. But first I want to introduce new listeners, old listeners. Hounds Town USA is home to the happiest dogs on earth. I got a little disclosure last week at the end of the show. I found out why the dogs are so happy at Hounds Town USA.
You just found out?
Yeah.
What was it?
Never mind. You must. All right. So anyway, Hounds Town USA is home to the happiest dogs on earth. We have 23 locations in 6 states. Pittsburgh is opening up in about 2 weeks. They're having their grand opening. So any of our friends listening or have friends in Pittsburgh, right on Penn Avenue, it's really going to be a sensational location. Hounds Town, Pittsburgh. So Hounds Town is a fully interactive doggy daycare, which means dogs interact all day long. It's a natural pack environment. Dogs of all shapes and sizes. We don't breed discriminate. However, we do place dogs in groups, properly matched size, age, and temperament. Right. Joining me, of course, is the lovely Ashley Pizzo, Danielle Janice. How do I say it?
Janice.
Janice, got it.
You just put a nice little
Janice.
space in there.
Right. She has her wonder dog, Squirt. Squirt, for those of you who've been following us on Facebook and listening to the radio, Squirt, how long have you had this, Squirt?
About a month now.
Right, so listen to this, folks. This is the amazing thing. She has the dog 4 weeks. She didn't get him at a pet shop. She rescued him from Arkansas Rescue Group?
Yes, Arkansas.
Right, you never really met him.
No, she had no idea what you were getting.
No, I just saw a picture of him online and thought he was cute, so.
She thought she was cute and he's here. But I think the whole point of our show with Squirt is to show his development. And one of the things we talk about is when you set behavior, it's just easy from the very beginning to shape a dog's behavior rather than go out and rehabilitate dogs' behavior. And we're going to talk about Christmas puppies, meaning dogs that were born around Christmas. It's a very popular time to get a young puppy, 8 weeks old, 9 weeks old. You want it under the Christmas tree. And now here we are in June, and those dogs that were puppies in Christmas are now adolescent dogs, and they're testing every boundary. They're chewing, they're barking,
Well,
they're
they've kind
biting.
of set all those behaviors now.
What's that?
For the past 6 months, they've been setting probably pretty bad behaviors in the home.
Right, because if you're not teaching boundaries, the dogs don't know anything, so they take it. They're not doing it maliciously, by the way. Young dogs have to teeth, so they don't know the difference between your shoes and a piece of leather. So they're chewing. They don't care about your couches. They don't care. They don't know. They're urinating. They're relieving themselves inside. Because most humans aren't teaching the dogs properly. They're not shaping their behavior. Is that right?
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot more people, when they rescue or buy dogs around the winter season, are more likely to use those wee-wee pads inside, which sets a pretty bad behavior
Right.
in the house.
Right, little dogs. So think about wee-wee pads. That's also true. Wee-wee pads for puppy training is kind of ridiculous. If you think about it, you're teaching your dog that it's okay to relieve themselves in your house, number one. So you're trying to teach your dog, their ultimate goal is to have them go outside, go as far away from the house as possible, in a perfect world, a little corner of the backyard where they relieve themselves. But so instead, we take these wee-wee pads, we lay them around as though there's some kind of magical thing. To a dog, it just is. It's another shade on the floor. It looks like a towel.
I've seen people. Yeah, that's exactly.
Thank you.
I've seen that before. Where
Right.
dogs start going to the bathroom on the laundry on the floor because they think it's
Well,
a
they don't-
wee-wee pad because they don't know a
They
wee-wee
don't
pad is a
know.
designated
It's
area.
ludicrous. So now you teach the dog to go on a wee-wee pad. Now, when the dog's 6 or 7 months old, now you want him to go outside, and it's just a very frustrating thing. So the point is, we try to keep it simple. At Hounds Town USA, we do something called turbo training, right? Which is very straightforward. So actually, over the last week, obviously, this time of year, I'm getting frantic phone calls from people, primarily with Christmas puppies. They got the dogs, they were cute, they got them because they had one when they were younger, whatever the reason, they get a puppy. And a puppy is like having an infant. It requires it has needs. So anyway, I met some nice people. Claire, who I've known for many years, she's this wonderful woman. She lives up in Port Jeff, and she got a dog named Max around Christmas. Max is some kind of terrier or something. I don't know what the hell he is. But now he's 7 or 8 months old, and he's really like a high drive dog. He's bounced off. He's on furniture. He's everything that we talk about. Counter surfing. Chases the vacuum cleaner, bites the vacuum. He's just nuts. And it's not really what everybody signed up for. You see a little puppy, it's cute, you love it, you had one when you were a child. Now you get this dog, and it's like he needs an exorcism 8 months after he's born. But had we started setting behaviors right from day one, from the minute these dogs come into our home, and it's doable. It's just easier to shape it than rehabilitate. So Colette, Claire's daughter, she has this 6-year-old white Bichon. He's cute as a button, but he's very fearful genetically. It's nothing that anybody did. But he's afraid of noises, people, sounds, which most dogs all are. But he's genetically a little bit on the shy side. So the funny part was, Claire and Colette have 2 opposing dogs. One is a very confident terrier who, has no fear of anything. And wants to kill the vacuum or whatever. He's very not confident. And Colette's dog, Romy, this 6-year-old who looks like a puppy, he's very fearful. So he's, if somebody knocks or he runs or he's just, it's just a funny dichotomy, so to speak, of different dogs. But the point is, no problems. We come in and we just teach people to relax. The unusual thing that every family member was easily able to not look, talk, or touch. Yeah, which is incredible because usually it takes me, it takes me an hour just to get people to stop.
Disconnect from the dog for 5 minutes.
Exactly, for 5 seconds. Without crying, without laughing, without expelling a lot of emotion. So it was a really good experience for them. I wanted them to come on, but I think they didn't want to come down on the show. But maybe one of these days, either Max or Romy will come on just to show. But in the meantime, we have our friend Squirt. So talk about Squirt for a minute, just his background. You've only had him 4 weeks.
Yeah, I had him for 4 weeks. He was born in Arkansas, and he was fostered for the first couple of months of his life, and then I got him when he was 4 or 5 months old. So now I've had him for about a month now.
Right, and you're following, kind of loosely following. It's kind of a funny thing because we always say after the end of the show we're going to work with all the dogs all week long, but invariably about 15 minutes before the show we start working with.
I don't work with him like daily,
right?
But usually.
Right, but the point is you're following certain
Yeah.
principles. He's crate trained.
He's crate trained.
Right.
He eats his breakfast and dinner in the crate. He sleeps in the crate. Any food's always in the crate, but
Right. So, and he gets that. And he comes to work with you. One of the benefits of
Yes.
working at Hounds Town is and that's one of the problems for our demonstrations here. By this time of night, 8 o'clock, Squirt was in daycare all day long.
yeah,
So,
he actually slept over last night, so he's extra
Oh,
tired.
yeah. Yeah, because Danielle was out.
Danielle's
last night.
extra tired.
Everybody, Danielle's falling asleep here. Everybody's falling asleep. So we're not going to ask we know what Squirt was up to. I don't know what Danielle was up to. But anyway, yeah. So the point is that doggy daycare, going back to Hounds Town USA, it's fully interactive. Dogs need social interaction, just like children need to go and play with other children. Fish need to swim in water. Dogs need to. So it's not just a nice thing. It's a psychological place where dogs can be dogs. That's where they can be growl at each other, hump, jump, and dump, as I say. So it's important. So Squirt goes, and by this time of night, he's exhausted.
Yeah, he's done for the day.
But during our 7-minute break, we're going to show you, if you watch the last 3 or 4 episodes of this show, you'll see where we started. Very simple obedience. Don't let him pull on the leash. Relax. No look, talk, or touch. We teach him to go to a place, a very designated place. And that's what we're going to do during our 7-minute segment. And we just expand on that. And it's it's so simple, as I tell everybody. It's so simple, most people can't do it because they have their neocortex, their big executive brain. Sorry about that, Mike. We have our executive brain. Dogs don't have this. So we have to communicate with our mammalian brain. And that's all we're going to do here. And it's simple, simple, simple. All right. So that's that. Did I cover most things?
You did.
I talked about Pittsburgh opening. I talked about Orlando. We're opening 3 locations in Orlando. We're going to take a 2-minute break. Then we're going to come back, and I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. I don't know. I got notes here. We're going to talk about movie theater for dogs. I have no idea. But stay with us. Join us after the break. And then for our 7-minute break, we're going to do an amazing canine demonstration.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
You do? Okay. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
I got your hint now. It didn't click. I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Say so. Who's this? 16 dogs, 1 cat.
You want to take him out?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do that. Just
Keep
for
the
a minute.
Facebook people occupied.
Oh, hi Facebook people. We didn't forget you. They're going to go outside and practice. We're going to be distracting Squirt. During our 7-minute break, we're going to do a little demonstration. The whole point to what we're doing is keeping things simple. These are not big things. So the beautiful example is we have this dog that is young puppy that she's had for 4 weeks. And you're going to see as the show progresses how we can easily develop the dog's brain and behaviors just by consistency. We don't talk to the dogs. We don't do a lot of throwing dog biscuits around. It's so simple and relaxed. And when you relax and stop letting the dog consume you, your emotions. You know, most pet owners that I run into, they're more involved with their dogs than their spouses, children. It's an incredible, incredible thing. So we're going to show that, demonstrate it, and we do this day in and day out. We call it turbo dog training, meaning it's fast. I go to people's houses and they think, they think their dogs are crazy and they think this is going to involve weeks and weeks and weeks of training. And they find out it's just an adjustment of them. When they relax, the dog relaxes. And you're surprising how we're creatures of habit and what we do and how we do it. We're kind of crazy, really, when you think about it. But, yeah, that's turbo dog training. And we'll show some videos. In fact, I'm going to show a little video. I'm going to forward this video of Max to Ashley. Maybe she can put it on Facebook. Because Max was triggered by the vacuum, which a lot of dogs are. Dogs don't know what vacuum cleaners are. I don't know how vacuum cleaners work. Does anybody out there really know how vacuum cleaners work? I don't know. I plug it in. I don't even know how electricity comes into my house, to be honest with you. That's how stupid I am. But let me find this video. Okay, here it is. And I'm going to send this to Ashley, and she's going to post this on Facebook. We should be getting going soon. Let's see.
Ready?
Oh, yes, sir. Hang on. Okay, welcome back. Were there, Mike? Welcome back to Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould. You're listening to the Dish on Dogs on 103.9 LI News Radio. For those of you out of state, you obviously are listening. I'm sure my friend Joan Sullivan's listening, Tom Sullivan, all my friends out of state, the Allens in Orlando, the Brasilias in West Palm Beach, all of which we're going to have locations very soon in all these far reaches of the United States. So for those of you who can't listen to the FM station, you can listen on Facebook
Yep.
most of the time. And when you can't listen to Facebook, if we're not on Facebook, we're always on the website. You can
Yeah.
always watch it on LI News Radio and listen live. Is
Yep.
that correct?
That's correct.
All right. I'm exhausted. What were we talking about?
Well, we were kind of theming the show around today was, the difference between the animal wants and then the human wants.
Right.
And your famous words you want to use all the time.
What?
Anthropomorphism.
Okay, so anthropomorphism is ascribing human traits to animals, whether it's horses or pigs, no matter what. They're animals, and they have certain needs. Their needs. Humans, we're animals, we're predators, we have different needs. So, but what we have a tendency of doing is projecting our needs onto the poor little doggies of the world. And just their needs aren't the same. So I know you wrote down we have some silly examples of...
Yeah, so I was on Facebook last week, and it kind of popped up on my feed, and it said something about a night at the movies with your dog, and I clicked on it. It was a little video that someone out in Texas, the whole point of it is that you're supposed to bring your dog to the movie, and it's 5 days a week. You can bring your dog and watch a movie with your dog, so people just can't go. And they give you bottomless wine, so you can have as much wine as you want and sit there with your dog and watch the movie.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's
in my
crazy.
opinion.
It's crazy when we mix human activities with dog activities sometimes. And how do I know that? Look, 90% of the time it's fine. But there's going to be that occasion where somebody's drinking wine at the movie theater in the darkness, and somebody's going to move or do something quick, and somebody's going to get bit by a dog.
Oh, yeah. And they only really require that your dog is just up to date with vaccines, not, trained or, anything like that.
Right. So it's just insanity. We could just go to Port Jefferson here on Long Island, see the insanity of when we try to have animals interact with humans. It looks good, I guess. And then the other part, like you have here, ADH, we see dogs come in, they're on Prozac, they're on...
Well, vets can actually prescribe dogs Ritalin.
Right, but listen how stupid this is. And again, I hate to keep going back to Romy, but Romy's this 6-year-old little Bichon who's nervous. So if you took Romy to the vet and described the behavior to the vet, they'd give him some kind of sedative to calm him down. So the dog is wonderful. He's not triggered by fireworks. He just has this little unusual little quirks or tendencies.
Right.
Now, a vet without doing any kind of behavioral stuff, they just put the dog on meds. And you and we all see this all the time. Dogs check into our boarding school, and they're on all kinds of, like you said,
sedatives.
Ritalin, and basically they're sedatives. So they're not doing anything to address the behavior. And this is what's happening with humans.
Right. Like, you have pretty bad anxiety.
Yeah.
You're not taking...
So do I. I drink scotch. I put scotch
But
in.
they try to, as soon as they hear you anxiety, they're like, here's
Yeah.
Xanax, and take Xanax, and, the crazy...
They
These
just
are like
try to give you
addictive...
medication to,
Right.
when you could just manage it.
Right, you have to learn an outlet for your anxiety. So, absolutely, and the same thing happens to dogs. And more importantly, dogs don't have the same brain to address. So, dogs aren't psychotic. So there's no such thing as a psychotic dog. They don't wake up one day and break out and kill people or bite. There's always an underlying reason. I would argue almost always is an underlying reason for human behavior. We just might not know it. So as I always say, I've seen dogs that were highly aggressive in one spot of the house, but you could find out that the dog was guarding a cheese doodle for the last 2 or 3 months. So usually, very few people are psychotic, by the way. True psychosis is very rare in humans. True psychosis. There's neurotic behavior, there's schizophrenia, there's all these other things, but true just psychosis and sociopathic behavior, it's a pretty rare thing. So what we try to do here in Hounds Town, throughout the country, is bridge the gap. So our humans are very loving, caring people, but they're usually providing human needs to an animal, particularly a dog, a domestic dog. And a dog, we all know, is just a descendant of the gray wolf.
Right.
So it's a wolf that's been domesticated and bred. So there was no Bijans, there's no Airedales. There are, but they're just descendants of the wolves. To get a white dog, you breed 2 white dogs, or a few generations of white dogs, and you get a white dog. You want a big dog, you start breeding a big dog with a small dog, and in a few generations, you'll have what you're looking for.
Right.
So the problem in America specifically is people breed dogs for looks and not temperament. So they don't really care. This is what happens at puppy mills. You just have dogs breeding and breeding and breeding. Nobody's taking into consideration the temperament of the parents of the dogs, right? The mother and father. So if you look at a nervous, neurotic dog today, if you could see his parents, they were probably nervous and neurotic, but you can never do that. So many years ago in European countries, they bred dogs strictly for temperament. They really didn't care what they looked like. They didn't care if a German Shepherd had 2 pointy ears or one was floppy. They didn't care what it looked like. They wanted to make sure it was of the right size, and they were sound in mind and body to deal with the tasks that people wanted to use them for, whether it was pulling, hunting, herding. They had very specific tasks, and dogs were bred for that reason. So now, I look at my little fact sheet. In 1918, there were 70 million dogs. 1918, 70 million. 100 years later, that's as old as my father, there's 900 million dogs. Obviously, and the human population has tripled, and the dog population is quadrupled. So naturally, all these things are happening. Dog bites, this, that. I deal with dog bites every day. It's heartbreaking, because it usually involves a 10-year-old child. They're the number 1 victim of dog bites. And the dog is usually 2 or 3-year-old dog. So, and kids are getting bit on the face because the dog's face is near the kid's face. So these are tragic things. Anyway, what else are we talking about? I'm rambling here.
Well, no, I think another thing was the whole point is of anthropomorphism is people putting human emotions on dogs. So we hear a lot of people say the dog knows better, the dog feels guilty, the dog will never bite, because they make these assumptions about dogs like they make assumptions about their children. People call themselves mommy and daddy for dog owners. But pretty much somebody got bit on an airline a couple of years ago from an ESA dog, and the guy went
ESA dog, you got to explain.
Emotional support animal.
Right.
So that's that, you go online, fill
out
a form pretty much.
Right, you can pay $150, you get a dog.
They ask you if your dog has a good temperament, you say yes, and move on.
And you feel better about yourself, and you go on, you sit next to a normal person like me who gets anxiety by you sitting next to me with a dog.
Or just sitting next to you.
Or just sitting next to me. But then add a dog on there. And I love dogs, but I don't want them to be next to me on an airline that I can't even put my legs out. So,
right.
Okay, go ahead.
So pretty much this guy had a window seat, and on the aisle seat was a guy holding a dog in his lap, which is like one of the rules on the airlines. If your dog is over a certain amount of weight, they have to lay at your feet. The smaller dogs have to then be under the seat. So the guy had a 50-pound pointer chocolate lab mix in his lap, and this gentleman had to walk past him to go sit in his seat, and he said, "Is your dog okay?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he doesn't bite, he's good." And as he walked past, the dog growled at him, he sat down, he's like, "Are you sure the dog is okay?" The guy said yes again, and then the guy turned to look at something, and his dog lunged off his lap,
bit him in the face.
Bit the guy off the face.
Right.
It took a couple people to get him off, and then the dog escaped from them and jumped back onto the guy again.
Right. So this is horrible situations. We're going to take a break. Then we're going to do our 7-minute little demo with our dog Squirt. And we'll come back. We'll talk about dog bites again and why they occur. We'll pick up where we left off.
Well,
with
people
them.
aren't trusting people when they're
Well, it's
asking,
crazy.
is your dog good? And they're like, oh yeah, my dog's great.
It's
He
the
would never bite
crazy
somebody.
world. This is why we say the more people we meet, the more we love dogs. Let's get rid of humans. Let dogs take over the planet. Watch little Squirt during our 7-minute segment. It's going to be fascinating. All right, go ahead out, and then Johnny will follow it. Wake that mud up. And do a little healing around. Bring your stuff nice and relaxed. Go ahead, follow that part. I'll describe what's happening. All right, come back to me. Just nice and fluid. So here's our little friend Squirt. As you can see, Christmas puppy. We don't use food reward for this. Look at how nice. I make a right, go the other way. She just goes. There's no talking. No talking. The dog follows her legs. Now make a left. See, her body is relaxed. The dog is at her side. This dog is, how old is this dog?
5 months.
5 months. She's had him for 4 weeks. Make another left. We're not done yet, folks. We're not done. Make another left. Come to a stop. And just, he sits. I stimulate him. I throw balls. He doesn't get up. Look at Danielle. She's relaxed. The dog made a little mistake. Don't forget, this carpeting at McArthur Airport, it stinks. There's echoey noises. Airports are crazy. What she's going to do now is she's just going to heel, which means she's going to walk with the dog on her left. Go ahead. Just step out your left. Go ahead. Just go. Then come with us. Go towards the bed. Right. And then just stop around there. Ask him to sit. So what we've done is put a bed, that's his bed, attached to a thing. If you watched last week, we just used a bed to teach him to go place. Now she's going to drop the leash, and then she's going to point to the bed, tell him to go place. And then she's going to walk away. She's going to give him a treat, and then she's going to walk away. And she's going to forget about him. And guess what? He's not going to get up, no matter what. And she's walked away. And I'm going to sit down because I'm an old man. If you get out of the way a little, go this way, cameraman. Cameraman John. All right, that way, whatever. See if you can get both. So here's what's happening. Here I am, right? I got a wall. Whoops. I have a squeaky toy. I got my brain. And we have Danielle, the owner, right there. All she has to do now is, if you can get this, she's going to drop low and call him. And here comes Superdog. She loves him. She picks up the leash. She heels away, go away. And just watch how simple this is. Come towards me. We're going to do this one more time. Look at her body. She slows down. Look at the dog. Ask him to sit. Does this dog look oppressed? We're not using prong collars. We're not using electric collars. And we're really not using food. The only time the dog gets food is when he jumps on the bed. Watch how simple. Here. Perfect. He gets a small treat. This is in 4 weeks with a 5-month-old dog. And I don't care what anybody says about wheelchairs, noise. I don't care what happens. This dog is well trained. We don't care if he sits or stays. If he makes a mistake, no, pick him up the leash and he goes right back. This is the work in progress. There's no yelling. We're not throwing cans of pennies at him. Let's really show off. Let's see if we can get Danielle all the way back. This is about 50 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. Right there. She's going to stop. Look at how nice. She's going to get low and call. She's picking up the leash, and she's going to walk. Normally I have a wheelchair laying around, but I don't need one. What else can we do? If we have the circus come through town, this dog is well on his way. There's nothing we can't do with this dog. It could be a therapy dog. It could be anything. It could be a detective dog for the police department. Drop the leash and step over and say hello to. This is wonderful. Get low call. We're getting the notice that we got to go back in, but folks, this is your dog. They don't come from special planet. These are just not. This is just a nice dog. He wasn't tested. We didn't pay. She didn't pay any money. Or a little donation to the charity. All right, let's go back in. That's our demonstration for tonight. Good work. The dish on dogs. Perfect. Tremendous. Perfect. All right. That was pretty good. All right, Facebook people. Come on, what more can this poor kid do? She got a dog for 4 weeks. She's out partying all night. The dog stays overnight at doggy daycare, and he still comes to her when she calls. All right. Any words, comments on fit? Nobody cares. What more do they want us to do? Next week, we want the poor dog to jump through.
I don't think we're allowed to have that at the airport.
Huh?
I don't think they'll let us have that.
All right.
And kids are getting bit on the face because
I don't understand why that keeps saying. Why do I keep hearing my voice in my earphones?
That I don't know.
All right, so we have 2 more segments. Animals and zoo. All right, so we're into third segment. Then we'll talk about our contest, our crazy dog contest in segment 4. What?
Jackie said she knew where you were.
What do you mean?
A bunch of wine glasses.
She's not wrong.
Did you run into Jackie?
Yeah, how does Jackie know where she is? I
Jackie
fell
was at the
asleep
vineyard
early
with her.
last
She's
night.
at the vineyard with me.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, all right. We got a little exercise there. Did Jackie watch that little demo? Probably not.
She was on Facebook.
Oh, did you post that? I've sent you a video of
Yeah, I can post it.
of Max, and post him now, so he's on there. Or you got to wait till the
No, I
show's
can.
over.
I can post it right now.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Do I have to screen it or no?
No.
Okay. This is Max and Claire, right?
Yes.
Is that Claire in the video?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's our husband, I think. Gary.
Gary?
Mm-hmm. Think so.
In 5, 4, 3.
Do you wish you knew where your dog was there? You're in the right place. Hounds Town USA presents The Dish on Dogs.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, and this is a show about dog behavior and how we manage dog behavior. Hounds Town USA is home to the happiest dogs on earth, with 23 locations in 6 states, very soon to open in Pittsburgh. We don't breed discriminate. We don't breed discriminate. So German Shepherds, Dobermans, 3-legged dogs, blind dogs, 2-legged dogs. Our dog Rosie only has 2 legs. She's in a wheelchair. They're all welcome to come to Hounds Town. We put them in play groups and they have a blast. Of course, we don't throw too much human emotion into this. And this is what we were talking about before the break. But so Hounds Town USA is a fully interactive doggy daycare. If you're interested in finding any information, go to houndstownusa.com. Everything you ever wanted to know about doggy daycare is there. And we call it home to the happiest dogs on earth because the dogs love it. Because it's an opportunity from them to not being yelled at for being on the couch, for peeing on the floor, for just this toxic. Humans are dramatic. They make drama unfold, and then they unintentionally project this drama onto their dog. So just the simple task of answering the door when a FedEx man comes turns into like this crazy dog drama, and that's where people get bit by dogs. That's why the mailmen get bit by dogs, because dogs watch the mailman pull up, the dog barks out the window, and the mailman disappears. Then one day the mailman comes up to the front of the house, the dog gets out and he gets bit. So anyway, All right, now what? What are we talking
Well, we
about?
were talking about the gentleman that got bit by an emotional support dog on the airline.
Right. So this happens all the time. So dogs change all the time. So even if you have the most balanced dog in the world with the greatest temperament and the greatest bite inhibition, if it has an ear infection or if it becomes frightened, so just think, I am frightened by flying, right? I know all the statistics. I know what's happening when the plane is bumping around. A dog with its little mammalian brain is stuffed up in a bag usually, or stuffed under a seat. The plane stinks. There's people drinking. Everything is up in the air. So we make dogs do what we don't want to do. Leave your dog at Hounds Town USA. Take a drink, take a Xanax, and go fly to wherever the hell you're going. Don't bring the dog with you. Because I very honestly, it really annoys me, really. Because when I go to airports, I do take pictures of service dogs that I see, and I don't see them as being particularly happy dogs.
No, absolutely not.
Right? Because their spirit is kind of, not always, and I know my friend Scott tells me, what is it called? Not emotional support dog, therapy.
Right, therapy dogs or service animals.
Yeah, well, there's 3 categories: service, therapy, and emotional support. But many times, and even well-intentioned people, they push the dogs to the limits and they project whatever your disability is. It has to be balanced. So a dog's life has to be balanced. It can't be a servant to you 24 hours a day. So after a while, it's not fun. So if you have a golden retriever that's 3 years old, he wants to run. He wants to hump, jump, and dump. He can't be expected to take care of a human's needs. They're not psychologists. They're not physical therapists. They're not walkers. They're not canes. They're not crutches. They're dogs. All right, and you know that gets me crazy. No, it really does, because of everybody, protesting puppy mills and unneutered dogs. This is a form, I believe, to some degree. Nothing is absolute. So if there's a legitimate need for a therapy dog, then you should use it. But sometimes we have the habit of creating industries and whole big things. Like I say, Squirt is, as far as I can tell, he's been here with Danielle for 4 weeks. What more do you want the dog to do, for Christ's sake? Yeah. We're at an airport with crazy people, and he jumped up on a ledge. He sat there, and he came to her when she called him. What else can we do? What do we want him to read a book to her? I don't understand it. So that gets me frustrated, because here 4 weeks, and really, be honest, this is not a big work project. This is done so simply. Just in the course.
It took us probably 2 minutes to teach her how to jump over.
Right, 2
It
minutes.
took him one try.
Yeah, one
Right,
try,
right,
and that was it.
right.
He was like, all right, I got it.
Right, and all of this, but here's the point: he didn't come from a special planet. He
No.
wasn't bred. In fact, he was not abandoned. But what's his story? He was
His mom was a stray that some woman took in, and she was pregnant when she took her in, so he
Right.
was just born
Right.
into her house.
Right. Right. So the other point is, and I work on dog bite cases, and right now I'm working on 2 cases. One's in Chicago, and 2 are in Florida. One involves a child being mauled by a dog, and it was a pit bull. So now the pit bull gets put to sleep, but this dog should have never, and I won't go into all the gory details, but it was a stray. The dog was allowed to be adopted by a family with children and stuff, and that was the mistake. So it was a bad foster. The dog should have never been placed in this home. But anyway, what's so funny? So he shouldn't be placed in the home. So it's a tragic thing. So when I hear everybody telling me the dog is great, he never bit anybody, and pit bulls get a bad rap because if they're not socialized, as we talked about, like Squirt's never biting anybody, providing people don't disrespect his space and make him do things that are unreasonable.
Right, and it's situational. We know he's great here at MacArthur Airport, but if you were to take him on a plane or, because even when we went on our stage at the World Dog Expo last week, we thought he was going to be fine, and then we stomped on the stage, and it kind of got him nervous because he wasn't used to just that
Or the
stimulation.
vibration of the PA system. It was a very loud PA system.
Same thing with Rosie,
Yeah,
where she's
Rosie.
not nervous about anything. She's
Right.
afraid of
But I think what
PA
people
system.
don't understand, and people make a mistake too, even the emotional support, not the emotional, the middle category, therapy dog. what people don't also understand is they evolve. So what's maybe a perfectly qualified 1-year-old emotional support dog, at 3 years old, if he develops arthritis or if he develops a hearing disorder at 4 or 5 years old, he may not be qualified for that, and he may react. So as I said, a dog with arthritis, a dog in some kind of pain, an ear infection, anything, if their eyesight starts to go, their hearing, they're completely different dogs. So just because it's been certified as something when he was a year old, doesn't mean he's going to be in that same psychological and physical state of mind 2 or 3 years later. And that's where people make a mistake. And that's where at doggy daycare, we see dogs changing. So what they were great for 2 or 3 years, and now they're getting a little bit older, a little more dominant, or a little bit, they have something going on and they're different. So they can't come anymore.
Right, and I think it's the same thing. It would be like us taking our boot camp dog and fully training them for someone, and then them going into a home and not getting the same training. I mean, these people who are buying therapy dogs, they're not still continuing to train the dog.
Right. I don't know. And someday we're going to have my friend Scott Brezzolier on in a couple of weeks, and we're going to. I think it's not going to be a debate, but we have a difference of opinion. Of course, he
probably knows more information.
Oh, he definitely knows more about it. I just make this shit up. Oops, I make this stuff up as I go along. So yeah, no, he definitely might know facts. But I always want to ask.
Is there another way, a different option?
Well, is my Squirt or Danielle's Squirt or my Rosie eligible to be these dogs? What's the test? I'll do whatever. I got to go to a nursing home. My point is, it doesn't have to be a whole industry. And don't rely on the fact that it does one thing here and it goes, even though, and I know he gave me an interesting statistic, there was 1,700 of these dogs, therapy dogs, and there hasn't been any accidents, no bites. But I would caution that that's a very small pool. 1,700 with no bites is...
Well, and is it registered? I mean, I know people that have gotten bitten by
Right.
emotional support dogs and they didn't make
Report
a
it.
police report
Right,
about it,
right.
Because it was a customer, so they didn't want to do, because they got bitten in a restaurant.
I'm just saying, here's my bottom line. We're going to go to a break in a little while. But all I'm saying is, a dog to me, any dog, is an emotional support dog, number one. If I need, there's something about it that I just feel that the dogs are being pushed. Would I take a 3-year-old child and project my neurotic behaviors or whatever my behaviors are onto the dog? I'm not sure. I have arthritis. If I need a cane or a walker, that's what I'll use. I won't take a 70-pound dog and push my big fat ass on his poor 70-pound back. It don't make any sense to me.
Right.
All right, I'm aggravated. What now? So in the next segment, we're going to talk about our crazy dog contest, right? We have a contest.
We've been getting some feedback about
We are
it. I
getting
haven't
some
gotten
feedback.
submissions, but we have people that are very
Right, well,
There's a
so-
lot of people that say that they're going to make that.
And-
Yeah, they're going home and they're putting
It's hard to
crazy
do
things
because we
together.
want crazy videos, and it's hard to catch these little bastards in the act of being bad. So join us after the break. We have one more segment. Put up with us for another 10 minutes or so. No, the break is only 2 minutes, and then we come back for like 7 minutes.
Right.
All right, come back. The dish on dogs.
Do you want to start taking?
Oh yeah.
Get on them, Danielle.
Yeah.
Danielle cracks the whip.
She's the lead head producer. Someday when she marries Steven, Post Malone, no, Post Malone's no good for her.
The postman.
Says who?
Steven, he's the one who's gonna go home to you every night. Post Malone is nothing but aggravation. Nothing but aggravation. All right, so after this, we're gonna talk about everything this way. Maybe the other people aren't coming in, I don't know.
They came late last week.
What does that
Sorry to hear
say?
that.
They came late last week, so they'll probably be here.
He's saying I'm watching. Mike, what is that on his head? All right, I'll have to explain.
Who said that?
I don't know. Who said that, Jackie? Then Sullivan, mind you, he can't listen to me now. Attaboy.
Well, you said in the earlier segment it was your neocortex on there.
I thought I did.
You did.
That was a pretty good demonstration. She's getting
Yeah.
better now. Then you can
Yeah,
take
he's
that thing off.
really
You can
good.
start doing tricks now.
That's
so.
what I that's what I was doing.
He's like snoring on my lap right now.
Yeah, he's out. But he performed very well. I mean, we pushed it a little bit. I mean, he was really pretty good.
He's good with the change. Like we can do something in doggy daycare and he does it here. Like,
Right. He's very stable.
Yeah.
He doesn't get nervous about too many things. Oh, is that us? Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould. We're sponsored by Hounds Town USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth, and Hounds Town Charities, home to the most gifted dogs on earth. They're gifted because they give life back to humans. That they are therapeutic, but just by being dogs, though, not because they're special. They're just dogs. So we take dogs, Hounds Town Charities, and we take them under the worst conditions and just rehabilitate their mind and body, and then they're perfectly loving family members. It's simple. So anyway, what were we talking about?
We were talking about, well, we were talking right before the break, we were talking about the emotional support dogs and therapy dogs and your opinion of it, which we know when it gets you aggravated. But the whole kind of topic for tonight was about how people see animals and think animals want versus what animals really want. I know you have a thing about zoos also.
Well, it's not zoos. It's when people encroach. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't have like a strong opinion about zoos. But when people encroach, here's what I don't like. When humans encroach on animal spaces and then the animal kills the human, somehow the animal gets killed. I don't get that. Like, in other words, so there's been many instances where zoo attendants who shouldn't have been in an enclosure went in an enclosure. The lion kills them.
And then they deem the animal dangerous. Meanwhile, it's a lion.
Right, it's a
so-
lion. Or, there's been tragic stories. An alligator killed a kid at Disney World a couple of years ago. It's a horrible story. It's a horrible story. But the alligator wasn't a serial killer. He wasn't traveling around Disney World looking for children to kill. We meaning Disney World, encroached on the swamps. That's what Disneyland is built on, a damn swamp of alligators. And now, so this kid got bit, horrible. I don't think the parents could have known or done anything at all. But to kill the alligator just doesn't make any sense. Does it make us feel better? Then you had this crazy woman upstate New York who was having like a relationship with a monkey.
Oh, that was crazy.
Right. So
that was a while.
That was a while. It was several years ago. But she had this monkey or ape. I don't know what.
And her friend came over.
No, she was having wine with the monkey, and it bit her face off. So, okay, she lived. I mean, obviously she was mauled horrifically, which, do I have sympathy? Nah, not really. Then, no, but I mean, you're having dinner and wine with a monkey. I think it was more like a gorilla, but I don't want to exaggerate. Bottom line, this ape, chimpanzee, whatever the hell, chimpanzee, bit her face off, almost killed her. But how does the chimpanzee end up dying? It doesn't make any sense.
Instinct for the animals.
It's instinct for the animals, right? So if you go, even Squirt, the most even-tempered dog here, if he's cornered and afraid, he only has one mechanism to defend himself, and that's his teeth, his mouth.
Right.
So, and again, we see the aftermath of all this. People like, oh, I've always had. Most of the times, wasn't this dog bite on the airline like, what kind of dog was it?
It was a lab, a chocolate lab.
A chocolate lab.
And Delta, or whoever it was, has a policy in place that pit bulls can't come on
Right.
the plane. Meanwhile, there's a chocolate lab mix.
Right. Right.
But did significant damage. This guy needed
Right.
28 stitches in his face and plastic surgery.
Right. So the dogs always, when the dog bites people, particularly seriously, they get put to sleep. And it's really not, they don't need to be put to sleep. They need to be managed differently. They need to be someplace. So in this case I'm working on in Florida, if this pit bull, it was a pit bull, and this is why they get a bad rap, if he was placed in a home with just adults and just managed differently, he would never been attacked this child who was playing in the backyard, whatever. Anyway, Yeah, so it just, I've never met a dog that had to be put to sleep. I met dogs that
And you've
have
evaluated
thousands.
red dogs from shelters.
Right, red dogs from
Right.
shelters. Because we have red dogs.
We have
We've
two.
had, right, we take them, they bite, but we manage them in a way that they don't bite. We don't expose them to children, obviously. So I have grandchildren. When people come over, I just had a big event at my house. I put my dogs away.
Right.
They're just away. It's like a gun or anything dangerous in your house. It's potentially dangerous.
Right. And we had people get upset when we took Bruno from the shelter here, and he did his demo, and he was jumping up on
Right.
platforms, and all
Yeah.
these people were walking by, and they got mad when you say he couldn't go in a home with children because he was so good here. But that doesn't mean
Right.
that just because he's good here, that if you put him, running
Right.
loose around the house, that he's not
Thank you.
going to bump a kid down the
Right,
stairs.
because they have arousal levels, and they're triggered by different things. So children, that's why they're bit universally number one, because they're animated, they're lower to the ground, and kids do weird things. They jump on furniture, they screech, they move fast, and if a dog isn't socialized from puppyhood, like that will never happen to Squirt, because he's always going to be exposed to children, almost everything in our crazy world. And we live in a crazy world, but we take things for granted. We take PA systems for granted. We take vacuum cleaners for granted. We take bicycles for granted. But dogs can't take it for granted because they don't know what the hell they are.
Well, there was a service dog that came through an airport security line and actually wound up biting a small child. She was probably about 5 years old and like ripped a piece of her lip
It's
off.
horrible.
But my thing is, how can you test a dog with children without putting that child at risk? So I know I've seen in videos and stuff when they evaluate dogs, they'll take dolls as children,
Yeah.
but dogs know the
Same.
difference between plastic
Of
and
course.
humans.
Of course.
But there's no real way.
Well, there is in a sense that you can...
But if a child ran, like these dogs, like when we see them in the airport, they're like laying, their
Oh,
whole humans are
completely.
sleeping, they're
Right.
not being supervised.
Right.
So if a kid ran
Right.
over and grabbed the
Of
dog,
course.
you can't guarantee he's not
No,
going to ever
of
bite
course
somebody.
not. And the same, but like Squirt, he could grow up, or children can grow up in his world because it's a static pack.
Right,
It's
but
not
Danielle
changing.
also isn't going to, even though she knows how good he is never going to let him just run up,
Of course not.
have people run
Well,
up
it's
to
even
him.
like I have Shadow. He's a huge red dog.
Right, exactly.
Right. So her other dog. So you have to understand, dogs are potentially like loaded guns. You have to be very careful with them. All right, so let's not go on, because then people, I get criticized for talking too much on the radio. I didn't know that's possible. I talk about repeating myself. Well, some people are new listeners. Hello. Who wanted to know what this was? This simulates the neocortex, the human brain. So I use this because this is how we communicate with humans for the yours on Facebook, and then when I take it off, we have our mammalian brain. My friend Tom Sullivan told me I can't curse on the radio. He's probably right. I didn't mean to, but I can't help
That's why
myself.
there's a delay. So hopefully
There's a delay,
I can
but
pick that up.
I don't know about that. But whatever. It doesn't matter. The point of the matter is, chill out, relax, enjoy your dog. You should be home right now, sitting on the floor with a glass of wine, some popcorn, and your service dog should be on your lap. You're just petting him and relaxing and enjoying your dog for what it is. Don't try to make him human. He can never be human. They haven't evolved. They're the same. What?
So Kristen wrote that you like to use your grandchildren to practice
Oh, that's-
on the
oh,
dogs, which I have
Kristen.
witnessed.
Yeah, no, that's right. If you want to temperament test your dogs, get your grandchildren. Use that. Yeah, but yeah. Okay. So anyway, that's good. My beautiful daughter-in-law's her birthday was just last week.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, we won't reveal her age. Never. Anyway, all right. Listen, kids. I'm just about had it. Is it? What are we? Oh, let's talk quickly about our crazy dog contest.
Yeah,
Quickly
so
describe that.
we did post that more on Facebook to like our customers as far as throughout our locations. So pretty much we had a lot of feedback. I mean, you've seen it too. A lot of our daycare customers, boarding customers are now going to try to get their dog in the act because they want to win this contest.
So what we want is a 60 to 2 minute video of a
Yeah.
dog acting as crazy as can be, as long as you can do it safely. Don't entice
Right, not like
them
biting people.
Right, don't entice them to eat your children or anything like that. Just barking at the front door, attacking the thing. Whatever craziness happens, the winner of the contest is going to get a free boot camp, and that's
Yeah.
about a $2,000 value. The dog will come to us for 12 days. We'll video the progress.
Probably have them on the show.
Oh, of course, have them on the show, just like we have Squirt on, and follow their development. So the world's craziest dog contest, do it safely, provide us with a 1 or 2 minute video, and our team of celebrity judges will select the winner.
Yeah.
And Joan Sullivan is one of our celebrity judges down in Ocala. She'll be one of our judges. You know who Joan Sullivan is? Star.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? She's a movie star. All right.
I don't think that's the actual Joan that's coming on the show, though.
All right. So anyway, so that's what we're going to do. So join us next week. We're going to begin live Monday on next Monday at 8 o'clock. Think about this crazy dog contest. Watch us on Facebook. You can watch shows on YouTube.
Yeah, so all of them are uploaded by the next day onto YouTube. So you just go onto youtube.com and you type in Hounds Town USA. It'll take you to our channel, and we have everything on there from doggy daycare videos to our radio show and charity work. So it's definitely a good outlet.
Excellent. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. See you next Monday. The Dish on Dogs.
Jess, what is laughing at your picture of Squirt on Facebook?
What picture? Oh, I look hideous in that.
Oh, will you
Oh, stop. You look hideous. Are we off Facebook or are we still
I
live?
don't know if I want to say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.